สวัสดีนะคะทุกท่านแล้วก็ Good morning everyone. Welcome to the live analyst presentations and the Q&A sessions for the fourth quarter of 2025 บำรุงราษฎร์ Hospital Public Company Limited ค่ะ My name is Achariya Sanatana, Investor Relations. I would like to thank you very much everyone for your time joining the session here. For today, we have the local analysts joining us in person at the hospital. Meanwhile, we also have our foreign analysts joining in online as well. We had uploaded the analyst presentation slide on our website IR page already this morning, so you can check that out before for the presentations for today's meeting. And for the agenda today, we will start with the analyst presentations by our management. Today we have a few presenters who will give us an update on the BHPCL as well as the VIH Phuket and the Vital Life. And then we will move on to the Q&A sessions later. So for today, given the time that is 2-hour sessions, we will give the opportunity for the questions from the floor first, and then for the online attendees, you can send your questions to the chat box or through the email ir@bamrungrad.com, and then I will address those questions later. So for the agenda, we will start with the presentations, and then we will move on to the Q&A sessions. But before we begin with the presentation, let me introduce our management that are here with us today. We have Khun Neil Sorrentino, Corporate Chief Strategy Officer. And we have Khun Athira Charukit Pipat, Chief Executive Officer. And we have Khun Orapan Buamuang, Chief Financial Officer. And we have management on the floor to give presentation as well. We have Khun Rajiv Rajan, Chief Business Development Officer. And we have Dr. Polakit Tikha Kirikun, Chief Executive Officer of Vital Life Scientific Wellness Center and Esperan, and also Chief Science Officer at BHPCL. And we have Khun Henrik Henderson, Chief Innovation and Technology Officer. And we have Khun Daniel Kastner, Chief Commercial Officer. So without further ado, please welcome Khun Neil to talk about the fourth quarter BHPCL performance summary.
Okay, and we welcome you all to our Q4 and year-end 2025 presentation. For the year, it was a good year for us. It was a year where we divided our performance between 1H and 2H. 1H was a difficult period for us because of the earthquake, Ramadan, Songkran, and it was for us really a tale of two halves. The first half being weak because of some systematic issues: Cambodia, China, Kuwait. Those three countries impacted us for the year. A negative 500 million Thai baht. You know about the Cambodia-Thai issue, you know about the safety issue related to China, and you know about the Kuwait issue. For your information, during the quarter, Q4, on the Kuwait issue, we were able to collect 376 million Thai baht that the Kuwaiti government owed us over the last 2 years. And we were very, very pleased with that because that represented an important piece of AR that had been hanging there for a while. There was a large delegation that came to Thailand. They visited several hospitals, but we were the only hospital where the Minister of Public Health visited us here. And we had a very cordial session with he and his delegation here, just in the room next door. We're not sure. Rajiv's going to talk a little bit more about that. He came back from Kuwait last night. He's going to talk a little bit more about the future of Kuwait and how it is that they intend on sending their citizenry around the world for health care or not. But he'll discuss that in depth because he just got back last night. But let's talk about the quarter and the year. The quarter was a fine one for us for Q4, very, very strong in Middle Eastern revenue. You see here that those four countries, Qatar, Myanmar, USA, and UAE, there's a percentages growth in the quarter, respectively, 20, 25, 16, and 29. The Middle East growth for Q4 was 16.6%. This is year over year for the quarter. Was 16.6% higher. And I'm not sure, Rajiv can correct me on this, but I think the revenue for the year from Middle East was probably one, if not number one in our history, at least number 1, 2, or 3, somewhere in there, but Rajiv can talk about that in greater detail. As I mentioned, those 3 countries, there was a shortfall of 500 million Thai baht, which we made up and grew the EBITDA for the quarter 5.9, we'll call it 6%, and we were very, very pleased with that. And when we get to the point where I talk about margin, our margin was very, very high on EBITDA for the quarter also. But I think you saw that in the MD&A and the write-up that we published right after our board meeting. The Q4 Middle East revenue intensity, which is the quality of the revenue, not necessarily the quantity, but the quality of the revenue, meaning lots of resources burned by patients because they're quite ill, was 16.4%. So we took care of a lot of Middle Eastern patients with a lot of cohort-related diseases during the quarter. Thai revenue was down, but the intensity was up by 2.1%, mostly in oncology and cardiology. So again, we look at revenue intensity as opposed to just pure volume, pure revenue for the sake of talking about revenue. And this is very, very, very much about what we're about, which is high revenue intensity, high resource consumption, and matching it, comparing it with good cost control allows us to drive the kind of EBITDA margins that we've been driving. One of the big issues in the year, which I'm going to ask Nim to talk about in a little bit, was this whole question of BOI benefit that we received in the year 2025 that wasn't matched by the government in the year 2025 versus the year 2024. There was a major difference between the benefit that we received in 2024 versus 2025, but Kunim will talk about that in just a bit. We have a slide that covers that. Cambodia and China, I talked about the negative revenue growth there and why. I talked about already the strong 2H recovery, and I'll show you the numbers, the difference between 1H and 2H. In our MD&A that we published thereafter our board meeting on Thursday morning, there had been considerable discussion by the investor community, many of you here who represent companies, about the company's very, very large cash reserve. And as you know, companies at times will do pruning or capital management, if you're familiar with those terms. And our board decided to take a hard look at that and asked that we give them some guidance about our sources and uses of funds. What are we going to spend money on over the next 3 years? Phuket, Soi 1, our annex building, we're adding 50-some-odd beds here. What is the needs of the company from a cash standpoint? Because we have no debt, as you know, on our balance sheet. Actually, we have negative debt. And I presented to the board a number of options associated with capital management. That is, looking at our cash flow, looking at our cash, near cash, long-term investments, which amounted to, I think at year-end, 16.2 billion, 16.6 billion in total. And I've been hearing a lot of this from your side of the world about, hey, what are you going to do with all this money? Why don't you give it to us if you're not going to spend it or buy earnings? And the drum beats got louder and louder over the last 6 to 9 months. So I went back to our board and our chairman and had multiple discussions, especially with our managing director. And so the decision was made by the board on Wednesday evening last that in addition to the 2 baht per share, which was the interim dividend for 2025, they also agreed to offer a 3 baht per share dividend for the year-end dividend, and then as a special dividend, or as some countries call it, extraordinary dividend, they awarded the shareholders 6 baht per share. So when you look at the total spend for dividend payout for 2025, it's going to be that number up there, 8.753 billion on line 3. Now, that is not to say that this will be something that will be business as usual as time goes on. This is considered a special dividend, and then all I ask you to take a look at is the trend line about how the board has behaved in representing to the shareholders, and this has to be approved by the shareholders at our EAGM in the third week in April. But I suspect it'll be favorably approved by the shareholders, but that'll be up to them. So this is an unusual thing that the company has done. It has never done anything like this before. Will they continue to do something like this? It's unknown. We have made estimates, I and Kunarapan have made estimates about what our cash balances, cash, near cash, long-term investments will be at the end of 2026, at the end of 2027, and we're very comfortable about where we'll be because we've been very, very good at collecting cash given the fact that we're 70% self-pay, cash-oriented company. So to Kunarapan's credit and Rajiv's credit in how it is that we collect cash both from all others as well as the Middle East. Rajiv is very active in that force as well with the related embassies, as are the teams inside of accounting and finance. So when you look at this pictorial, it tells you what I was referring to earlier, the 1H versus the 2H performance. In 1H, we were down 7.2 year over year, and in 2H, we were up 5.7%. It was quite a comeback for us in the second half of the year. And we were very, very close on the EBITDA, almost flat year over year. And to be almost flat, minus 0.9%, when we were down 7.2%, was a pretty dramatic comeback. Next slide. The margin is a absolute representation of how it is that we take care of very, very sick patients, and we do it very, very cost effectively. There is no one in the industry, and when I say no one, I mean no one, including the United States, in all the hospitals that I've ever worked in, that had a 39.9% EBITDA margin. This is a record. This is a record for us that we've maintained beyond 39.6. I didn't think we'd exceed that. We're just a bit shy of 40% EBITDA margin, which is remarkable. Next slide. You want to touch on this, Kunim?
Yes, for the net profit for both fourth quarter and full years decline compared to prior year. If you look at the amount including BOI tax benefit, the primary driver was a sharp reduction in BOI tax benefit year over year. In fourth quarter this year, BOI tax benefit total only 10 million baht, down from 131 million baht in the prior year. And for the full year, benefit were 10 million baht versus 147 million baht in 2024. And the decrease was mainly due to the lower applicable tax deduction rate on the BOI CSR program, which was reduced from 200% in 2024 to 120% in 2025. So as a result, the BOI-related tax benefit recognized year-over-year dropped significantly. But if you look at the excluding BOI tax benefit amount and margin, underlying net profit for both fourth quarter and full year 2025 moved in line with the revenue trend. So and also reflect the better margin in fourth quarter 25 and flat margin for the full year.
Everybody in here understands what the BOI program is and how it works and how it doesn't work and why there's such a dramatic change year over year. All clear to you? You can see that the difference was 50% period over period. So we get the benefit in 2024, although we expended the CapEx in 2024 to get that benefit. The government didn't offer it in 2025. Or they offered it, but it was much, much less, went down from 200%, I don't know, to 50%?
They're down to 120% in December 2024 and ongoing down to 50% in Jan 2025. So that's why we decided to stop in terms of the investment in BOI CSR project ค่ะ in year 2025
Yeah, it didn't make sense to us to expend the capex for such little return. So I guess the government decided that the poor hospitals in the Northeast and in the North, they wouldn't get that benefit, and they weren't going to give them that benefit because there wasn't the incentive for us to do it. We'd have to expend a great deal more cash to be able to get the kind of benefit that we got in 2024, so we made the decision not to do it. Next slide. If you look at our 5-year trend line on the net profit margin, we maintained it in 2025 at 29.5%. But more interestingly, forgetting about 2021, which was COVID, more interestingly, you can see the trend line 23, 27, 30, 29, and then 29.5. Very steady performance. This tells you about the contextual nature of our volume and how it is that we manage the costs associated with caring for these patients very cost efficiently and cost effectively. Next slide. This is our compound annual growth rate, almost 5% when you look at non-Thai revenue. Consistent. Next slide. And then the same thing here for Middle East, which is much bigger, 6.7%. If you look at fourth quarter 2025, as I mentioned earlier, was 16+%. Very close to, forgetting about fourth quarter 2022, because that's the uptake out of COVID. 16.6 is very close to our record of 17.1%. In the period that we've been in the Middle East, which is from 1997, we almost came close to our record high of fourth quarter 2023. But when you look at the mix of the Middle East business in the fourth quarter of 2025, it was much more broad and deep than in 2023. 2023 was more concentrated. 2025's Middle East business was much more broad, even though we didn't have Kuwaiti business to speak of. Well, we didn't. We did have, I don't know, what was the revenue for Kuwaiti business in 2025, Orpan? Cannot hear you.
Yes. In terms of the Kuwait total in year 2025, it's about 244 million baht.
How much?
244.
Yes, he's very light, 244 million. This is almost all private pay. Kuwaitis coming into Thailand, coming to Bumrungrad because they've been coming for years, but they're all out-of-pocket cash pay. But that number used to be, I don't know, 1 billion baht. Is that right, Rajiv? About 1 billion baht? So versus 244, you can see the difference that we made up in other Middle Eastern countries, principally Qatar. Next slide. The non-Thai was as highest as it's been, 67% for the fourth quarter. That is as high as we've ever had it at 67%, and that is attributable principally to Middle East, Bangladesh, USA, UAE. Next slide. These are the, you'll be able to get this when you access it online, but these are the highs and the lows by percentage in terms of growth for the quarter and for the year. They're the obvious ones that I've already mentioned to you. Next slide. This is the switchover between the quarter and the year on EBITDA and EBITDA margin. You can see in the quarter up 6%, 5.9%, but the margin was at 38% for the quarter. And when you look at 24 and 25, you can see the numbers for yourself. Next slide. This is somewhat of the same that Kun Nim was talking about. Anything different here, Kun Nim, that we need to? I don't think there's anything here that we need to comment on beyond what you have already said. Does anyone have questions about this? It just shows the difference between BOI and non-BOI performance for the different varying periods, fourth quarters versus year. Next slide. And this we talked about. And I'm to you.
Thank you คุณนิวค่ะสวัสดี again ค่ะ I'm pleased to report you all in terms of the fourth quarter 2025 and for the year 2025 ค่ะ คุณนิว already said some of that ค่ะ I will go to in detail for you ค่ะ In fourth quarter 2025 total revenue and EBITDA increased by 0.5% and 5.9% respectively. EBITDA margin was 38.8%. The growth was primarily driven by a 5% increase in revenue from non-Thai, which offset by 6.3% decline in revenue from Thai patient. Net profit was slightly down by 0.9% due to less BOI CSR tax benefit in this quarter. When excluding BOI CSR tax benefit impact, net profit will be improved by 5.8%.ค่ะ. In year 2025, total revenue and EBITDA declined by 1.6% and 0.9% respectively. EBITDA margin was 39.9%, which is the new high record of the company. The decline in revenue was primarily driven by a 2% decrease in revenue from non-Thai patient and 1.8% decrease in revenue from Thai patient. Net profit was down by 3.4% due to less BOI CSR tax benefit in this year. When excluding BOI CSR tax benefit impact, net profit will be declined by 1.7%. ค่ะ Move on to see the total revenue. ค่ะ In terms of total revenue in fourth quarter 2025 was 6,559 million baht, slightly improved from fourth quarter 2024 by 0.5%. The total revenue improved mainly came from the increase in revenue from hospital operation, which improved by 1% when compared to fourth quarter 2024. The growth was primarily driven by 5% increase in revenue from non-Thai patient, which offset with a 6.3% decline in revenue from Thai patient. The growth in non-Thai patient revenue mainly due to higher contribution from Middle East, 16.6% increase, Myanmar 25.5%, and United States about 15.7%. For the year 2025, total revenue declined by 1.6%, mainly came from revenue from hospital declined by 2%. The decrease was primarily driven by 2% decrease in revenue from non-Thai patient and 1.8% decrease in Thai patient revenue. The decline in non-Thai patient revenue was mainly driven by the Cambodia down by 47% and Middle East down slightly by 4.8%, offset with Myanmar increased by 19.5% and USA increased by 14%. ค่ะ In terms of revenue contribution by service, in fourth quarter this year, the revenue contribution from inpatient service increased to 52% from 49% in fourth quarter 2024 due to IPD revenue increased by 6.9%, while OPD revenue declined by 5%. IPD revenue increased mainly due to higher intensity and longer length of stay. For the year 2025 and year 2024, the revenue contribution from outpatient service and inpatient service remain at 50% respectively. ค่ะ In terms of revenue contribution by payer type, insurance contribution in year 2025 increased to 21% from 19% in the same period last year due to insurance revenue for the year 2025 grew by 8.7%. The government third-party contribution in year 2025 was 17%, dropped from 18% in year 2024 due to lower Middle East revenue. For self-pay contribution slightly dropped to 61%, but still be the highest payer type. In terms of EBITDA and EBITDA margin, in fourth quarter 2025, EBITDA was 2,543 million baht, increased from same period last year by 5.9%. This represents a favorable change compared to 1% increase in revenue from hospital operation. EBITDA margin in this quarter was 38.8%. For the year 2025, EBITDA was 10,149 million baht, slightly declined from same period last year by 0.9%, with EBITDA margin at 39.9%. This represents a favorable change compared to 2% decline in revenue from hospital operation. ค่ะ In terms of net profit and net profit margin, in fourth quarter 2025, net profit was 1,885 million baht, slightly declined from same period last year by 0.9%, with net profit margin at 28.7%. This is due to lower BOI CSR tax incentive in this year, and when exclude BOI CSR tax incentive, the net profit of fourth quarter 2025 will improve by 5.8%, with net profit margin at 29.5%. For the year 2025, net profit was 7,512 million baht, declined from same period last year by 3.4%, with net profit margin at 29.5%. This due to lower BOI CSR tax incentive in this year. When exclude BOI CSR tax incentive, the net profit amount of year 2025 will be declined by 1.7%, with net profit margin 29.5%. In terms of leverage ratio, net debt to EBITDA for the year 2025 was negative 0.7 times, and net debt to equity was also negative at 0.2 times due to less net debt. In terms of liability and asset, at the end of year 2025, the percent liability to asset was still in low level at 14.5%. This is due to the higher net asset continuously. The last of my slide, we are delighted to share that BH achieved an A rating of SET ESG rating in December 2025. BH is now included in the SET ESG universe, expanding its visibility among sustainability focused investor and mutual fund. Thank you.
Swadikap. Firstly, on the net patient revenue by nationality. Overall, for the fourth quarter, we've seen a 1% growth across all segments. For the non-Thai segment, a 5% growth in the fourth quarter. And for the Thai segment, we saw a drop in volumes, but an increase in intensity for the fourth quarter. Further adding more color to it by the segments. For Middle East, we have seen a 16.6% growth for the fourth quarter, and overall negative of 4.8% for the year. Kunil mentioned a few of the factors which were, one of the main reasons behind this. If you look at 2025, the first half of the year, immediately post Ramadan, early, just near the Eid period, we had the unfortunate incident of the earthquake which happened, which had further demotivated a lot of travelers coming into Thailand during that period. And once that period was over, there was also in the GCC a shutdown of airspaces in most of the key countries like Doha, which had to shut down its airspace during this period due to political tensions for a week or so, which affected international travel. So mostly these are the two factors during the first half post Ramadan period, which had affected the number of medical tourists coming into Thailand at that period. If not for that, I think we would have had a more stronger contribution from the Middle East market added for the whole year. Some of the other markets from Indochina, which were because of geopolitics, which were beyond our control. One of the markets which affected us is Cambodia. Towards the second half, we saw the tensions getting more stronger and resistance. People were not traveling. Cambodians were not traveling. We saw a steep drop in terms of numbers for IPD and OPD patients who were visiting us from Cambodia. It continues to have the same kind of an effect until now. We have not seen a rebound of tourism, medical tourism from Cambodia yet. We are optimistic and positive that we might be able to build that back and everything would be in order sometime in the near future. So, revenue by the top nationalities, for the top 5 nationalities, I think we have the record-breaking performance for our company. For Qatar, 2024 was the highest performance. We even with the factors which I mentioned, which affected us in the first half, we still managed to have a very strong performance out of Qatar, 1% short of the best performance. Myanmar, we had a historical performance. It is 19.5% growth year over year. Also, the epicenter of the earthquake was in Myanmar. And half of that Myanmar towards the Mandalay, the airport was shut down for more than 60 days. So we almost had a huge drop of revenue and number of patients coming in from Myanmar in the first half. And with that 60-day cold period, having this performance for the whole year, I think, and this is the record-breaking performance and the highest revenue that we have achieved from Myanmar in the history of our company. I think for our strategy and our team did a pretty good job to achieve those numbers. For Bangladesh, we had the record performance in 2024. We did better than that, and we achieved the all-time highest revenue in 2025 as well. For the fourth quarter, again 2% growth. And for the than the last best performance, 5% higher than the last best performance from Bangladesh. And Bangladesh is also a market where a lot of political tensions were happening. We had an interim government last year. This year now the elections are over. Officially there is the Prime Minister who has been sworn in. We were expecting a very strong growth out of this market for the near future, and we still aligned to that strategy. In alignment to that strategy, we have taken some strategic initiatives, which Kunil also mentioned. We are planning to have a concept a clinic, which similarly we operate out of Yangon in Myanmar. We have made those strategic partnerships with local partners, and we have presented it to our board. We have it approved for the investment for the equipments, and we will be starting the clinic this year. We have the timelines ready. We believe that once we have this clinic up and running locally in Bangladesh, in Dhaka, it will be in the heart of the. We will not made the location official yet, but it will be in Dhaka. It will be in the heart of the city, and we intend to provide a lot of services locally in Bangladesh to the market segment that we target. And through these localization and making these services available locally, we'll be able to reach out to more people. We'll be able to connect with them and through our official platforms, engage with a lot of key strategies and corporates, and then further facilitate their travel out here to Bangkok. This initiative further will have a lot of more optimized referrals and a better connect with the community. UAE is a market where we had experienced negative trend and a softness in 2024, where we had mentioned a couple of times where we re-engaging and recalibrating with them in terms of recontracting. 2025 was a very positive year for UAE, and we were successful in having those renegotiations and recontracting where they had decentralized different accounts. So we could recontract with them, and in Q4 we saw close to around 30% growth year over year, and for the whole year we saw approximately 1.2% growth year over year. For what is not on this list is one of the nationality which is missing is Kuwait. Kuwait used to be one of our top markets. And as Kunil also mentioned, we were $1 billion plus, before what happened, and we were able to further, diversify that volume that used to happen from Kuwait, from the other GCC countries, and grow our Middle Eastern revenue. The opportunity today, what we have is we have been back and forth, trying and recalibrating and finding a way to settle our outstanding, which was the phase one of the expectation, where all the old AR could be settled. And I think in Q4 we managed to achieve that, and that is something that has been done. And now we are aiming for the second part of it, which is the resumption of business. I came back from Kuwait yesterday night. We had very fruitful discussions. This is not something which will happen very short term, because there are a lot of things happening in Kuwait as well, a lot of changes in terms of the structural changes within the country at different levels. Treatment abroad is something which has been paused for some time, and it's been in pause for the last 18 months or so, but they are looking for possible partners where they can resume and they can facilitate this under very strong governance. And we have been assured that we would be one of the chosen service providers. And at multiple occasions they have reassured this because of the quality that we have in terms of offerings. We still, we got that assurances again. But going forward, they are trying to put guardrails in place, proper governance in place. They do want to resume because there is a need, there is a demand. And that demand requires the country to have that allocation for treatment abroad. So when it will happen, we do not know. But we know that it will happen at some point of time. And we are halfway through that, because where we mentioned earlier, it will be in 2 phases. Where phase 1, all the old outstanding and the reconciliation takes place. And phase 2, the re-strategization and the alignment of how, when, and what type of patients would be sent would be discussed. So we are in that advanced discussions, and hopefully we can have that. And Kuwait is an opportunity for our Middle Eastern business today, because the kind of base that we have able to stabilize today, absent Kuwait, and Kuwait is a market where we have our presence, we have our strength, and that would be an immediate short-term win for us whenever that happens. And that is an addition that we look forward for the growth of our Middle Eastern business. In addition to Kuwait, Middle East, Saudi Arabia is also something that we have been pursuing for some time. And Saudi Arabia is a business that we feel that now, with also the elections almost over in Thailand, and hopefully with the new Prime Minister coming in, those kinds of initiatives would restart and dialogues would restart. With the restart of these dialogues, we can expect some kind of MOUs to be signed, might be sometime this year, which will further bring in a lot of new introduction of Middle Eastern business to Thailand. And we would be, we have already made a lot of, strategic collaborations in country, in KSA, in Riyadh, where we have local partners, private institutions who are our partners, who will further help us streamline and facilitate this once we have the official GOP in place and a government-to-government contract in place. And we expect that also as an opportunity for 2026. For the non-GCC countries or the non-Middle East accounts, Bangladesh, I already mentioned, one of the countries which also is an opportunity for us, which has shown a rebound, is China. First half of 2025 was weak, but second half of 2025 we intensified our strategies. We have more offices in mainland today, and we will continue to do so. And with these kinds of strategic missions, we have seen a good response in referrals and acceptance. We will continue our efforts in that direction, and we believe that it will yield us more results. So that is also a market that we are eyeing for 2026 as a strategic growth, where we can get back the business and also have more optimized referrals from mainland. So overall, that summarizes from my part. But before that, I'll just make a quick highlight, which is there on the footnote of this slide. Excluding the Cambodia revenue, the non-Thai patient revenue increased by 10.5% in the fourth quarter year over year. And if you absent the Cambodia revenue, the non-Thai revenue or the international revenue was up 1% year over year. So that is the effect that Cambodia had for last year's performance. And as a growth opportunity, I think there are new markets, there are existing markets. So we always try to diversify ourselves, because with the kind of portfolio we have, we try to enter new markets, establish and create a seamless flow of transfer of patients from that country. But the opportunity today that we have for some of the markets that have already been established, like Cambodia, like China, like Kuwait, these 3 markets put together has if we get a partial or some part of it in 2026 as a win back, I think that would be a great growth story for us in 2026 as well. So thank you. Thank you, Kap.
And we hope that the election doesn't get invalidated. คุณเลงครับ
Next นะคะ Good morning everyone. So today I walk you through our fourth quarter operational highlights and also updates for Bamrungrad International Hospital in Phuket นะคะ Let's start with the first slide นะคะ In Q4 we received 5 significant national and international awards. In November we got 4 awards นะคะ Start with AmCham. Next slide ค่ะ AmCham recognized us with the Platinum Level Corporate Impact Award for the 12th consecutive year. That reflects our sustained commitment to community engagement. Second, Deloitte named us as one of Thailand's best managed companies for the 3rd year in a row, specifically in the healthcare sector. This award validates our leadership, quality, governance structure, and long-term business sustainability. Another 2 awards in November is the Thailand Corporate Excellence Awards honor us for product and service excellence, reflecting the quality of our clinical offerings at the national level. And last but not least is the SET Awards. We received the Outstanding Company Performance Award and Best Company Performance Award for the 3rd consecutive year. These awards are particularly meaningful as they reflect investor confidence and financial strength of Bamrungrad. In December, we received another award, is Innovation Leadership Award from Than Sethakit. This recognizes our commitment to advancing healthcare innovation in Thailand. Next one is moving to the MOU partnership. We have signed 2 important MOU in Q4. The first one is with Faculty of Nursing at Suan Dusit University, focused on developing high-quality nursing talent, and we will continue to partner with them for other professions as well. The second one, Bamrungrad Phuket, signed MOU with Prince of Songkhla University, cover academic collaboration, research, and talent development. This partnership is particularly strategic for our Phuket operations, giving us access to a regional talent pipeline and academic credibility in the South. In October, our Horizon Cancer Center received accreditation from the European Society for Medical Oncology, or ESMO. This is a globally recognized standard in oncology. It validates our integrated approach to cancer treatment, including palliative care. And coming soon, we will open palliative care service. Now move to the Center of Excellence Performance. In 2025, you can see that the high intensity Center of Excellence still have the strong performance, which are Cancer Center, followed by Heart Center, Ophthalmology, and also Neuroscience Center. The rest almost flat, except urology declined around 7% and colorectal surgery dropped around 5%, which we are closely monitor with these 2 centers, and we already have action plan. Now, let me walk you through the progression of the Bamrungrad International Hospital Phuket. We position the hospital in Phuket as a luxurious secondary hospital with some specialized centers. For the first year, we will open 50 beds and expand to 120 beds by year 5. This is phase 1. And we plan to have the soft launch opening Bamrungrad International in Phuket around second half of next year. And phase 2, we will add more 92 beds and will reach total 212 beds for Bamrungrad in Phuket. The business model in Bamrungrad Phuket will focus on the 3 strategies. The first one is save life. If you can see the service, we will provide emergency, trauma, and acute care, for example. The second one we call rebuild life, which are spine, orthopedics, cardiology, women's health, and rehabilitation. The third one is enhanced life, which covered health screening center and of course longevity wellness center. We will operate as hub and spoke, so we will transfer the complex and high-intensity patients to Bamrungrad in Bangkok. On 11th of December last year, we held the first press conference for update our progression of Bamrungrad International Hospital Phuket at Hyatt Regency Sukhumvit Hotel. Actually, in June last year, we already start our CSR activities by donating medicines and medical supply to 7 schools in Mai Khao. And in November, we continue to support beds and equipment to these schools to build sustainability and community commitment. In February this year, just the 1st of February this year, we host a Phuket Business Forum with 32 key business leaders, which are hotel owners, tourism operators, and the businessmen in Phuket. The participants show very strong interest in partnership with Bamrungrad in Phuket and also Vitalife. This is an opportunity to integrate Bamrungrad Phuket and Vitalife with the tourism ecosystem. Last but not least, in these slides, you can see the construction. Next,
Go back one slide, please.
Okay. No, I already presented. This one, last slide. Kun Neil asked me to show the picture so you can see the real picture now in Phuket. We have now begun the foundation concrete works across several areas of our site. You can also see we have started installing multiple pipe sleeves embedded within the concrete walls, which is an important step to prepare for future MEP systems. That's all for my presentation.
Go back one slide.
The event, yeah.
This fellow, bottom center, the fellow in the blue jacket, his name is Andrew Giles. He is the new executive director for the hospital in Phuket. He comes to us from Kaiser Permanente. We hired him from the Kaiser Permanente Hospital in Hawaii. He'll be 40 years old in March, knows hospitals cold. He's been involved for 11 years with Kaiser Permanente. He's spending 6 months with us here. We're going to teach him our way, and then we'll send him to Phuket in July when his family and 2 children move there, his wife and 2 children. His wife is Thai. He's going to school to learn Thai. I don't know that it's going to help him all that much, but nonetheless, that's what he wants to do. He's a very bright guy. I think he'll do very, very well there. Many of you remember David Boucher. David Boucher still works for me as a consultant in the market, but he has retired as the CEO. He ran into some health problems, and he thought what was best for him was to leave it to younger men to open up a new hospital. But David's still on the payroll as a consultant to me, and he will be advising Andrew in the market. And David, is the one who recommended we talk to Andrew, and he's a very, very sharp guy. You'll meet him in one of the upcoming meetings. Okay, who are we to? You, our former investor relations person, Daniel Kasner, who now heads up insurance operations. Not a new face to you at all. Daniel?
Thank you, Neil. And also thank you for the opportunity to have a slide this time. I think last time I was given not much notice. So I'd just like to run through with you the development of the insurance segment. I think you've heard from Kun Orapan that the insurance segment has contributed an increasing share of the revenue mix. This viewpoint, Nakap, is based on company specific. So it's not consolidated. What I mean by that is we're not lumping in Vitalife, which is essentially self-pay, or also our UB Songdo Hospital, which is, again, mainly self-pay as well. So you can see here, this is the revenue contribution direct payer, meaning it is a direct billing agreement with our insurance partners, but also including the co-pay component and deductibles that related to the bills. So this number is significantly higher than what you would see in the usual presentations that we have. And as you can see, in 2025, we're almost at 6 billion baht revenue contribution. The growth rate year on year has been around 7.5% when we factor all of these in. And overseas insurance and medical assistance is still leading that growth with 12.6%, followed by local insurance. You can see that local insurance has slowed down slightly, and that's, I think, due to many different factors. You probably will notice for many in hospitals that insurance companies are trying to reduce utilization, reduce their loss ratios. And you will notice that the volume has come down, both from OPD side, but also from simple disease admissions, etc. as well. That's something that I fully expect insurers to continue to focus on. The overall market spend, I believe, is weaker as a result. But we have been offsetting that volume growth with intensity, and we'll show you some more information on that. Another factor to link to this is also the fact that there is also a pay and claim component, which we cannot detect. So people who hold insurance may pay and then claim directly to the insurer. We wouldn't know that. It would be factored under self-pay. But based on the company information that we've received from various insurers, that is another 10 to 15%. So then we're looking potentially at over 6 billion baht contribution, and around 25% if we factor that component in as well. Can you please go to the next slide? So revenue contribution, as you can see, this is based on company only. Copay and deductible, we're at around 23.6%, so that's significantly higher than what was shown in the consolidated data in the previous slides. And that continues to grow both from the local side and also from the overseas insurance side. On the local side, we have seen a pickup in demand towards the second half, and I think that's an encouraging sign as well. Most of that growth, again, coming in from revenue intensity, which is contributing approximately 10% to that growth. Please go to the next slide.
Daniel, can you comment about conversion and the impact on EBITDA margins?
So we haven't done an analysis of the full year impact to margin, but based on, let's say, first half numbers, the margin contribution of insurance is approximately 25 to 26%. It's come down slightly, and that's mainly because of oncology. Oncology, a big component of oncology is chemotherapy and also radiotherapy, where their margin is slightly lower. It's a big spend. In absolute terms, it's contributing a lot. But in margin terms, because of the high cost of chemotherapy drugs, the margin for chemotherapy drugs is significantly lower than a normal drug segment. But based on this, you can see oncology has been driving a lot of that growth, which makes sense because people buy insurance for critical illness, and oncology, stroke, and also things such as major surgical procedures like heart is a major driver of why people buy insurance, right? It's a major spend item. So oncology has grown by 50%, and you can see orthopedics too has started to grow. If you look back in the past, you will see that orthopedics has slowed down somewhat. We've re-engaged with the physician team in the orthopedics department, especially sports medicine, to get more market share on that aspect. So we've been working with them on making sure that costs are competitive, and we've started to see that flow through with the revenue growth. Cardiology, as you can see, is also another major growth contributing specialty, so 15%. Neuroscience, I talked about that last year. Neuroscience fell last year, but that was mainly due to the high base. And I mentioned that I'm more encouraged by the 2025 numbers, and that has borne fruit. A lot of that is also with medical assistance. So we see a lot of stroke cases from medical assistance side. Pediatrics is where you can really see the trend, right? A lot of insurers have started to discontinue child insurance, and so therefore the spend for pediatrics has come down significantly. On top of that, they've also started to reduce they've started to make it increasingly difficult to claim for simple disease admissions for children as well. So that has seen a pressure point, and you can see that reflected in the numbers. For the rest, largely healthy. I would say that our focus is on gastroenterology, I think that's an area that we are working with the clinical team on to see how we can make, for example, biopsies, etc., and also polyps, clipping, etc., more competitive. And I think we have an opportunity to do so. Spine has also grown. We see that also coming in from the tourist segment, so medical assistance, travel insurance, etc. Spine has grown significantly as well. Can you go to the next slide, please? So what's the strategy for 2026? If you look back when I presented the 2025 strategy, most of this is the same, but I'd like to just highlight a few things. Number one, we're becoming a lot more aggressive in targeting upcountry cases. So we've visited Udon Thani, we've visited Khon Kaen, we're planning to visit the EEC region, and we plan to visit the south as well. We originally wanted to go to Hat Yai, but given the flooding, etc., we think we should delay that aspect. So we'll start to see a lot more cases, hopefully, coming in from upcountry, which is a challenge because the local incumbents in that area notice this, and of course they try to prevent cases from leaking to Bangkok. But we think we have a very strong relationship with many agency partners and insurers to help drive that growth as well. Laos would be another potential opportunity for us because Udon Thani benefits from a lot of Laotian patients coming, and they also buy local insurance. So they buy AIA, they buy Gung Thai AXA products, and a lot of agencies operate in Laos as well. There's a lot of wealth in Laos that we can tap into, and they, of course, are seeking high-quality care because they can afford it. Furthermore, we're also working very closely with direct partners, for example, with corporates. We believe that going deeper, bypassing insurers, but going deeper among major international corporates is key to convince them of the value proposition that we have and to drive more referrals to Bamrungrad Hospital as well. But that comes with certain diminishing returns because it requires a lot of effort. It requires a lot of manpower, time, and of course investment. Right? We would invest in traveling, hosting events, etc., and that's something that we have to do in a careful fashion and in a cost-effective, ROI-driven fashion as well. And finally, I would just touch upon longevity because we've been working very closely with VitalLife in promoting longevity preventive care among local insurers, and we're starting to see interest increase. So we're working very closely with Dr. Boy and the VitalLife team with many partners, including AIA, for example. Today we will have a press conference with Chubb Life, and that would be also another potential opportunity for us. And going further, other partners such as Prudential, etc., are increasingly looking interested in longevity and preventive care because high net worth individuals, high spend customers are particularly interested in this area, and they've noticed that, and they want to engage further with these segments. So I hope this gives you a good overview about our focus and our performance. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
So as long as you have empty beds and your labor costs are fixed in the short term, this is a nice complement, this business line is a nice complement to what we do at Bumrungrad. However, my real interest is to push Daniel on the pressures of the margins associated with perhaps future business from Kuwait, perhaps future business from Saudi Arabia, perhaps future business from Iraq. So we push him on challenge with respect to bed availability because the margins are greater in that area. And insurance can be a very, very tough game in terms of declining margins with inclining volume. That is the insurance game, and to play that balance is not easy, which is Daniel's challenge. But Daniel, Rajiv is after you for those beds. Let me introduce this gentleman. Henrik Anderson comes to us as a senior partner at McKinsey & Company. He's our Chief Innovation and Technology Officer. He has been with us as a high performer over the last, how long has it been, Henrik, 3 years?
Almost 3 years, yes.
Almost 3 years. A very, very high performer and the person that looks forward 3 years from now to see where we need to go. And he's in very, very close connection and contact with Kunlinda, who's also thinking about where we go in 3 to 5 years from now. So he's challenged to try and keep up with her IQ, which is not easy to do. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Henrik.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Neil. Good morning. I'm Henrik Andersson. I'm responsible for innovation and technology at Bumrungrad. And this will not come as a surprise to you. Technology is an incredibly important element of healthcare because we see technology happening very quickly. It happens everywhere. We get AI everywhere. We get more and more imaging, more and more high-quality imaging. We get genomics, multiomics, precision medicine. We get more wearable devices. We get digital patient twinning. The number of different areas where technology plays a role in healthcare is very, very large. And what might come as a slight surprise to you is that if you look at the last 7 years, healthcare is actually the industry amongst all industries where the growth of data has been highest. There's no other industry where the amount of data generated is growing as fast as it does in healthcare. So this is a very, very important area for us at Bumrungrad. And so at Bumrungrad, if you can have the next slide, please, this has always been a very important differentiator for us. And this goes back into our mission. In our mission, we want to transform hospital operations with innovation and technology. And this goes back 30 years plus. Back in 1999, we were very early on to build our own medical record system here, which we eventually, it was so good that Microsoft decided to buy it from us many years ago now. But this history of being a first has continued. We started using AI in 2014. That was way before any of you were talking about AI, I'm sure. And that was in collaboration with IBM Watson for oncology. You may recall Watson was the self-standing computer that beat others in jeopardy, but it was also one of the big applications was how to use this in oncology treatments. And we were the first hospital worldwide to make good use of this. In 2022, we started using AI at scale in our imaging department. And at that point, we focused on 2 modalities. We focused on chest x-rays and we focused on mammography together with a company called Lunit. So already about 4 years ago, we really started doing this for about 1/3 of all of our imaging studies in this. And of course, with the rapid development, during last year, we were doing a lot in AI along many different areas of the hospital. We were building several agentic implementations. We had over 10 plus different smaller implementations. So we have a long and proud history of technology. And what I want to talk to you about today is what we're doing in 2026 and beyond. So in 2026, our plan is absolutely to continue this journey. And we're focused on 2 things: clinical outcomes and patient experience and trust. These are the 2 objectives that we have when we are looking at technology solutions that we are applying throughout our hospital. Clinical outcomes and patient experience. 4 initiatives that I'll go into a little bit more depth on today. One is to expand the use of AI in imaging. Second is related to the international business, which Rajiv spoke about before, digitizing and automating something that has previously been rather manual. Third element, which is very interesting, is to deploy AI to essentially all of our clinical users directly into our medical record system and hospital information management system. And fourth, and there wouldn't be a technology presentation without this, is our focus on cybersecurity and improving governance around these areas. Incredibly important in today's time. So let me click through these 4 initiatives very quickly. As I mentioned, in 2022, we started using AI in imaging, and we focused on 2 modalities. We had the chest x-ray and mammography. This year, we are partnering with a platform provider that will give us access to over 225 different algorithms from 85 different vendors, and which will allow us to deploy AI in all modalities and for all clinical use cases in imaging. And this will help us drive better patient outcomes because, of course, the AI can help us identify things that one might miss. It will also help our radiologists and clinicians' workflow. And importantly, putting this platform in place would help us stay up to speed and up to date in this world where the number of new AI algorithms that are coming out is so high that we can't possibly keep up with them one by one. But having a platform, we will be able to tap into all of them and using this. So this is a very important and exciting initiative for us this year. Second initiative relates to our international patient business. As I think it was Kunil that showed a slide earlier, it's been for many years, about 2/3 of our revenues come from the non-Thai business. And we are investing this year in supporting the teams that are dealing with this business, that are making these patients come to us, that are receiving the patients when they arrive at the airport, that are driving the patients to their hotels, that are taking them back and forth to the hotels and to the hospital, making sure that we collect their feedback, making sure that we respond to their feedback. So we're making a big investment in supporting these teams with a much better system to support them, to digitize something that was previously done in a rather manual way. Once we've digitized it, it will also allow us to automate it and apply more AI in this workflow. So that's our second big initiative this year. Third, and this is probably the one that our clinicians, our nurses, our pharmacists, everyone in the clinical side are quite excited about, is that together in partnership with our hospital information system provider, InterSystems, we are going to deploy AI throughout the hospital. And this will be something that is made available to doctors, to nurses, to all of the users in a controlled fashion. So what is this? This is not a separate system that we're putting on the side. This is actually updating the core system that all of these 5,500 users are using on an everyday basis to allow them to, when they work in a specific patient's record, use natural language search to navigate those records. Those records are very big, sometimes very complicated. They will allow them to create their own type of summaries. So if I'm an anesthesiologist, for instance, I may not be interested in everything, but I am interested in what do I need to know about this patient that relates to anesthesiology. I can have that. I can create my own distinct way of getting a summary out of the system that will give me all of the relevant information. AI will help us draft orders and documentation. Of course, they need to be approved by the doctor and they'd be finalized by the doctor or physician before they are submitted. And we will also use AI in ambient recording. This is the business of essentially putting a microphone between the doctor and patient, listening to the consultation, and having that consultation then automatically generate the clinical note, automatically proposing the orders, the things that are there to do next, and then approved by the physician. So this will help physicians, nurses, pharmacists, everyone in this area. Now, very important as we're doing this is an absolute of paramount importance is keeping patient privacy and confidentiality in mind, making sure that we have accurate records and that we are having a human in the loop for every step of the way. And so this is why we've chosen to do this as an integrated path of our core system that everyone is having. So this, I think, will be a very, very big step for us, and our doctors are quite excited about it. The fourth thing that I'd like to mention is, and this is not a one-off initiative, this is something that we do every year. It's an evergreen initiative. It's strengthening our cybersecurity and resilience. Now, as a policy, we do not talk about the specific solutions that we're using here, but I can tell you that we are looking globally for the very best solutions, the very best software, the very best tools that we can have. We've also migrated from a primarily people-based to an AI-first with very specialized skills to monitor and respond to all of the various events that are happening out in the world today. So cybersecurity for us is something that we will never negotiate. We will always put cybersecurity first. And I know that some of my colleagues find this frustrating, that they want to take the latest and greatest tool, but we will not let them do that unless we have reviewed it in proper detail. So these are 4 initiatives that will all happen during this year. Besides that, we're doing more things also in 2026, and some of these will come beyond. We are putting more agentic AI into our patient correspondence and essentially responding to our patients' queries, helping our physical staff to respond more quickly and more accurately to these questions. Daniel mentioned on his slide in insurance, which is a big area for us, is that we are starting an initiative this year on intelligent processing of these insurance, the full insurance process from verification of coverage all the way through payment and follow-up. We are looking at AI-driven clinical decision support systems. We have some very interesting ones that we're piloting that we will be putting in place. And we're also going to look at digital twins for patient participation. And this is very important to get our patients to really understand their diagnosis, what could happen if they don't react to it, and get them to participate in their own medical care. So these are some additional initiatives that I'm hopefully can get back to you on later as we progress on those. Now, you may say, okay, look, you're doing a lot of things. What does that mean for you as an organization? Well, I think we have a leadership and an organization that's been very visionary. So if we look at our vision and our mission together, there are 2 key words that I'd like to highlight. And it is trust. And it's trust from our patients, trust from our practitioners, trust from everyone. And it's innovation. So we proceed with what we call trusted innovation in this technology space. And for this, we're doing 3 things organizationally this year. We are working on stronger governance in both technology, cybersecurity, and putting this front and center for everyone. Second, we are strengthening our teams. This is actually one area where we are hiring more people and more skilled people that know this technology and can stay up to speed with it. And thirdly, we are very focused on collaborating more closely with our various clinical and operational teams throughout the hospital to make sure that we're not just putting these technologies out there, but we're actually getting adoption, because there's no value of any of these technologies unless we get people to adopt them. So we're working very hard on this area, and happy to take any questions later. Thank you.
Thank you, Henrik. And while Dr. Polakit needs no introduction, I'll give him one anyway, because he deserves it. Dr. Polakit comes to us from Harvard as a cardiologist, practicing cardiologist and geneticist. From there, he went to Pittsburgh. From there, he went to Hong Kong, and he's been with us for a few years now. He sees some patients, but he's involved a great deal in some of these titles that you'll see that he'll explain here. He's also our Chief Science Officer for the company. So Dr. Polakit, please. And the CEO for VitalLife.
สวัสดีครับ I think you guys know me anyway. My name is Polakit. I'm the CEO of VitalLife and Esperance, and also Chief Science Officer for the whole group. Before I bore you with all the science, let's talk about VitalLife a little bit. So I would like to share with you our Vital Life highlights for 2025, and perhaps we can bleed into 2026. Our commitment for the organization is not just only building the medical center or the wellness center, but I think we would like to build a scalable longevity ecosystem. I know that we are in the middle of, like longevity tsunami. Everyone talk about longevity. But the truth is truth. I think we are entering into what we call longevity economical transition. So for the past 25 years, we have received numerous awards. But last year, we have won several awards, including Asia's Premier Longevity and Wellness Destination, Excellence in Longevity and Aesthetic Medicine, Asia Best Performing Companies 2025, and more importantly, Global Healthcare Accreditation. And we have been classified as certified with distinction with 95.71%, which is like amazing. But more than that, we don't want to, again, not just only like building the wellness or maintain the wellness, but we want to integrate or embed the wellness medicine, especially longevity-based medicine, into the lifestyle. We have 25 years for a track record. And from strategic standpoint, and our highlights for 2025, a couple of weeks ago, we have announced the partnership ecosystem through the press conference. And let me just go over a little bit with you. We decided, we have made a deliberate decision to partner with many people cross industries. For example, hospitalities, travels, financial institutes, including insurance, like Kun Daniel mentioned. We also think that lifestyle is an entry point, because nowadays you cannot be a standalone. And again, we not only do a standalone medical center, a wellness center, but I think the good way is to perform and also bring the longevity medicine is to bridge with Bamrungrad Hospital and even collaborative extramurally. So lifestyle partners also is very important. More than that, wearing the CSO, Chief Science Officer hat, we need to do the research, because we believe that science is the backbone of the medical industry. Of course, we are not trying to be like #1 research powerhouse, but we need to do research and technology implementation to address the longevity-based medicine, including wellness. Last but not least, as Kun Henrik mentioned, we focus and we try to combine technology and science together, and that cannot be successful without technology/AI partners. We work together with many other partners. Let me talk to you a little bit more about corporate partnership events. So last year, we have participated and organized more than 30 in-house events, and that is how we convert the prospects into the high-value longevity-based clients. We wanted to deliver the personalized longevity experience. Wellness is very different and is very unique from sick care. Because sick care, when you're very sick, of course, you will come to the hospital, you can be admitted to medical ICU, and that's episodic. But wellness is not like that. You need to be longitudinal. You need to perhaps part of the subscription, part of the membership, and that's how you integrate the longevity medicine and also wellness into the medical community. And this is one of our strategies. So we can strengthen the trust. And what really makes us unique as opposed to other wellness in the industry is that we are physician-led consultation, we are physician-led wellness intervention, and we provide all these exclusive VIP healthcare journeys. Also, we participated and we organized the external events, more than 25 events. Again, we position Vital Life within the luxury lifestyle platform and ecosystem. And that is how we call conversion ecosystem. And we provide and we promote preventive medicine and advanced diagnostic through this platform and generate high quality leads and cross acquisition opportunities together with many other parties, as you can see here on the slide. Okay, So I'll give you some examples because all these things are more from the strategic standpoint, but something very concrete. Our project collaborations are numerous, but key collaboration projects that I would like to highlight today include intercontinental residences, Phuket integration. So we position wellness as part of luxury property ownership. Wellness from Vital Life will be bundled with residence purchase and support the wellness lifestyle that can position in the hospitality residences. We also work together with BBL and also Bay for the private banking and wealth management ecosystem. As for the output for the past year and also going into 2026, we invested very heavily into the new program and high intensity because we don't want to do price war when it comes to the wellness. So we prioritize the technology and science to support our wellness service offerings. For example, 7H, which I'm going to talk to you later toward the end of my talk. Also, we provided state-of-the-art medical-grade hair transplantation. We also invested very heavily in innovation and upgrade all the service and the venues. We also invented the digital and AI power marketing through the mobile application and multilingual websites and formed a strategic partnership as I mentioned before. So the whole idea is to integrate and embed our service into the high net worth individual society and vice versa. We have hired the award-winning interior designer from Singapore and built Vital Life V-Level, and we opened it a couple months ago with very great response. And I really hope that if you have time, you're more than welcome to visit, where we provide the IV therapy, plasmapheresis, and also create a lifestyle community among peers. On the right hand, and we are very proud, we have open longevity fitness in Soi 1, where we provide a lot of services ranging from functional assessment tools. We work together with the Global Technogym, work together with the many parties, including Technogym, to develop a CRM system using state-of-the-art exercise machine, AI-driven exercise machine where you can train your muscle, at the same time train your brain, and also train your reflex and all other system within 30 to 45 minutes for one session. And that machine is called DD Robotic, which is the only one machine in Thailand. So I'm going to skip this. I talk about this already, multilingual website, mobile application that can be connected with Bumrungrad Hospital and can even work together with some other partners if you're interested. Again, we prioritize high-intensity services such as Cognify program, Pheresis, and even long-term subscription membership. Let me pause a little bit and talk to you more about the Cognify program. This is the non-invasive program, and we are one of the few centers in these regions provide this non-invasive, in a medical term called transcranial pulse stimulator. In a very easy and layman word, we use the repetitive ultrasound wave, shock wave, to increase the blood flow to the brain. And within 30 to 45 minute session and maybe 6 sessions, this can really help people who have brain fog, maybe early sign of cognitive impairment, or even like Alzheimer of the mild and moderate degree. Last but not least, it can even help for people with Parkinsonism. So the indication is very, very diversified, ranging from wellness all the way to the disease. So aesthetic and performance enhancement solution, again, we're not trying to do price war, we're not trying to compete, and we have, again, made deliberate decision not to compete with aesthetic clinic out there. We don't think this is add-on therapy, but we believe that this is the entry point so people can understand longevity service from something very easy to perceive like aesthetics. And that's why we focus on something that would give you a very quick win and also high intensity when it comes to the commercialization. Last but not least, let me talk about our scientific output a little bit because this can reflect our organization identity and also DNA. Again, science is very critical here for Bumrungrad Hospital and Vital Life. We have conducted research. We work together collaboratively with people in the organization and with academic partners. Each year we publish tons of publications, and last year we published more than 50 publications. But I would like to raise I'm sorry, I would like to draw your attention to this paper because this is in-house research work, and we publish in the top 25 journal in the quartile medical journal. It's called 7H. The whole idea is to make use of our longitudinal data at Bumrungrad Hospital and learn from it. So it basically track all the data, tons and tons of the data, and then come up with what we call biological age. Nowadays, if you look at your ID or passport, you can be 40, you can be 45. But in fact, we really want to track your biological age. We want to know like your cell age, your molecular age, because that's how we can intervene and we can provide you the continuous monitoring, not your age, not your chronological age on your passport. And this is so-called 7H because we made use of a simple blood test, scalable, affordable, only 6 markers on the right-hand corner, like your kidney function, your liver function, your cholesterol, together with your gender, male or female. And the AI algorithm will give you your biological age. And we are very proud that we have launched it and we have clinically implemented at this hospital and also Vital Life. And very soon we are going to extend this service to our network hospitals or our potential partners. I think that would conclude my updates for 2025, and hopefully in 2026 it will be even more strengthened in terms of the strategic partnerships with the lifestyles, with all the financial institutions, and even like hospitalities, which I'm sure you all know that wellness has been part of many, many industries. And if you stay tuned for a couple months from now, we are going to even launch the new software, wellness intelligence, that can be the co-pilot for the wellness physicians, and which is again our in-house AI software that can take all the information from the doctors, from the laboratory, and spit out the recommendations for the wellness. Thank you so much.
Yes, and this biological age clock was invented by Bumrungrad, by our data scientists in Europe, and it's patented and it's published, and we're now using it in our checkup center. We invite you to come and have a look for those that are interested in knowing what their biological age is as compared to their chronological age. It's a very, very effective clock that tells you the differences between the two, and if your biological age is advancing, that's a good thing. If your chronological age is advancing past your biological age, that's not a good thing. And these 6 indicators that he showed earlier, which are called biomarkers, which are based upon 36 other biomarkers, will tell you whether or not you're advancing or not. The object is for you to do things from a wellness and nutrition and an exercise standpoint to have biological age advance past chronological age. So it's an interesting thing. We built this ourselves in Europe, and we also built 2 pieces of software that are part of Vital Life. One is called Nexa, one is called Nova. One is a rules-based piece of software that is going to be launched, I think, March 10th in Vital Life, and the Nova piece of software is going to be launched March 20th. We have opened up a health center in Zurich where we have our other subsidiary called Kionic, and we'll let you know more about that. But that biological age clock has received great reviews in Europe, and we're going to be expanding it into the health insurance market there, for which they're going to be paying up to 200 Swiss francs per test. And insurance companies are going to pay for it because there they value this kind of thing differently than, say, other parts of the world. So this is another business line that we plan on it taking off as a complement to what Bumrungrad does here.